Well, the protests in Hong Kong have been going on for 12 weeks now. Now, secondary school students have gathered at several places as well. They are holding a rally demanding reforms amid the political turmoil in the city. Listen in.
I think different Hong Kong people have different situation. Some may think stand out and fight to the government is a good way, and some may think be peaceful is a good way. I think they're all okay, and I support all of them.
Yesterday, thousands of protesters held a sit-in at a subway station that was attacked last month by a mob. The rally marked a one-month anniversary of the attack. On July 21st, more than 100 white-shirt men had stormed the WION station hours after protesters marched through central Hong Kong. The mob used pipes and clubs to attack protesters, passerbys and journalists. About 45 people were wounded in the violence. Protesters have expressed anger that nobody has been prosecuted for the violence yet. The protesters eventually clashed with the police. They sprayed fire extinguishers. Some spilled oil on the floor to stop the police from approaching them. Some demonstrators blocked station exits and sealed roads outside the station. They also aimed green laser beams at the lines of shield-bearing officers. Meanwhile, a small group of the protesters sat inside the station quietly. The unrest in Hong Kong, which began as a protest against the extradition bill, has now morphed into a much bigger crisis for the Chinese President Xi Jinping since he took power. What are the main demands of the protesters? Well, the demands were originally released in July, a day after a small group of protesters stormed the Hong Kong legislature. The demands include a full withdrawal of the proposed bill that would allow Hong Kong people to be extradited to mainland China, a retraction of charges against anti-extradition protesters, a retraction of any characterization of the movement as a riot, an independent committee to investigate the Hong Kong police's use of force, universal suffrage in elections for the city's chief executive officer by 2020. And well, joining us now with the latest is my colleague Bruce Harrison, who is in Hong Kong. And Bruce, what is the latest on the ground? Have things at all improved?
Well, today, a peaceful rally took place along the harbor. Secondary students gathered to express their concerns with the government. They also want the same demands met like the rest of the university students and other members of society who are protesting. They all want this full withdrawal of the extradition bill, as well as an investigation into police violence, among other things. But these young students, they're 14, 15, 16, they came out here today largely to say that many of them may boycott their classes and start on September 2nd. Not all told me today they plan to do that, but many said that's something they feel they can do to keep up pressure on the Hong Kong government. And most of that rally took place with them seated in a square near the mayor's office here in Hong Kong. And it was a peaceful event. But this comes just after last night, when we saw once again a slight escalation in the tension between police and demonstrators at Yuen Long Station, where there was clashes, and demonstrators ultimately retreated after police charged that station. I think there was hopes that after the massive peaceful rally on Sunday, there'd be a bigger buffer between any more violence, but it happened just days later at Yuen Long Station last night.
Okay. Well, but also, Bruce, what's the latest on the British consulate official who had been arrested as well?
Well, we still haven't heard anything else from China following their statement yesterday. that they had in fact detained Simon Cheng, the British consulate general worker who had been on a conference in Shenzhen just across the border in mainland China. They said that he was being held for a period of 15 days, or rather they said he was being held for a certain violation of security management regulations. They gave no further details, but it is known that someone who is being held on those allegations is able to be detained for 15 days. We're now on day 13, so there is some hope among his family as well as the demonstrators who are supporting Mr. Cheng that he will be released after those 15 days are up. But it's unclear if China will actually follow through. We've heard more statements from the British government as well as the consulate here trying to put greater pressure on China to answer what has exactly happened to Mr. Cheng. But so far, there's still a lot of question marks about exactly why he was detained. It seems a bit arbitrary what China is suggesting and when he will be released. But I can say that if he is not released anytime soon, I think it will inflame the tensions between the demonstrators, Hong Kong government, and even Beijing, because this detention, I think, causes a lot of fear among the demonstrators in relation to the extradition bill and what China's judicial system can do to them.